Hi, my name is Jabin, and this is a report for rptv News. TCHC, Daniels, and Tridel host community update meeting with Regent Park residents. On February 29th, Regent Park witnessed a vibrant community meeting hosted by Daniels, Tridel, and TCHC, showcasing the ongoing neighborhood revitalization. Held at the Regent Park Community Centre, the event aimed to update residents on phases 1 to 5 progress, upcoming projects, job training opportunities, relocation plans, and engagement initiatives.
All the angels sing about Jesus' mighty sword.
The meeting also had live music and food, adding to the vibrancy of the event. The meeting agenda was moderated by Julio Rigores, TCHC Tenant Engagement System Manager, who also facilitated dialogue between stakeholders and community members. Speakers included Chris Moyes, City Councillor for Ward 13, Toronto Centre, who delivered opening remarks, and Fatima Saya from Daniels, Brian Sherwood from Tridel, Peter Clues from Architects Alliance, Peter Zimmerman, Teresa Tudorova, and Esha Yusuf from TCHC, who provided insights into the future of Regent Park. In the last segment of the meeting, community members and residents voiced their thoughts, concerns, and aspirations regarding the revitalization process. This interactive session allowed for an open exchange of ideas, enabling residents to express their perspectives, share feedback, and raise any pressing issues they deemed necessary for consideration. The Q&A underscored the importance of community involvement and highlighted the collective commitment to ensuring that the revitalization efforts truly reflect the needs and aspirations of all residents. Before diving into the meeting highlights, rptv interviewed Will Mendes, Toronto Community Housing Director of Program Delivery. Will Mendes emphasized the importance of community gatherings like this one, stressing the significance of the community benefits engagement process.
Hi, my name is Will Mendes. I'm the Director of Program Delivery within the Development Division at Toronto Community Housing. And today we are very excited to bring together the Regent Park community for a community update meeting on the revitalization, including phases 1 all the way to phases 5. And it's an important day today because it allows residents from Regent Park to come together, learn more about the revitalization, and it's a critical ingredient to building out a unique recipe for a successful and vibrant community. It enables people to understand what's taking place, so that way we can further engage them throughout the process to realize a vision of the community. At today's meeting, we are going to let the Regent Park community know about the next building that will be constructed in Phase 4 of Regent Park. And we're very excited to announce the start of that construction, which will bring forward a lot of replacement housing, rent-geared to income replacement housing, as well as other types of housing and community spaces to the community. Community update meetings like this are very important to keep people informed as to what's taking place in the revitalization. It's one of the key building blocks to an engaged community, but it doesn't stop here. We engage residents of Regent Park throughout the year. We encourage tenants and residents to contact TCHC staff and or the developer, or go to our websites to find out more information, and we are committed to engaging people throughout the process to keep them informed, get their feedback, and involve them in decision making, so that way the revitalization of Regent Park speaks to the needs of everyone living here. As part of the phases 4 and 5 agreement with Tridel as a developer, TCHC is working with the community to understand the priorities of Regent Park, and through a process we've engaged over 1,800 residents in the process of understanding what the needs are, what the current needs are, and perhaps what the future needs are of Regent Park. And that process of engagement is very important because we want to ensure we get this right, and the Regent Park community can look forward to in the upcoming months to be involved in a voting process where they could vote on a community benefits package that meets their needs. Regent Park is a world-renowned revitalization, and what makes this such a special place is that the world is actually in Regent Park. It is a community of such rich diversity, and we wish to celebrate that every step we take to completing this revitalization process.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julio Rigores. I am the manager of Tenant Engagement System with Toronto Community Housing. It is a pleasure for me to be back here in Regent Park at the Community Centre, seeing a lot of familiar faces, new faces, and I wanted to welcome all of you guys into today's session. Thanks. In terms of agenda, so that we have a bit of a sense of what is going to be happening tonight, we're going to have our dear Councillor Moise is going to give us some opening remarks. We're going to get some updates. For the updates, we have Daniel, we have Tridel, and we have TCHC staff that are going to walk us through the updates. We're going to have a session for Q&A towards the end. It is my pleasure to call to the microphone our City Councillor, Chris Moise.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Oh my goodness, what a turnout. Everyone in Regent Park seems to be here this evening. You know, just thinking on my way here that this revitalization started almost 15 years ago under late Councillor Pam McConnell. Then we have the gap after she passed away. We had Lucy Trossi here, and then Kristen was here for 12 years. Then there was a gap. We had Robin Bussin Putz, and now I'm here. So there's been a lot of transition over the last 15 plus years, and I have seen it firsthand. 15 years ago, I actually lived just a block from here, so Regent Park was my stomping ground. I still live in the area, just a little bit north of here now. So, and I know in the beginning there was some difficulty. You know, so a lot of people were displaced initially. We know that. There were lessons learned. There was a lot of hurt feelings, but over time we have come together. You know, we have talked things through and we've overcome. And I think we're in a very good place today. I think, you know, today really is a time to celebrate all the successes that we've had over this long period of time and still coming together as community. And of course, food is a big part of community. There's a lot of great food here today. And it's just really heartwarming, and we have a lot to be thankful for. And I know for me as a new counselor stepping into this space that I'm very mindful of the difficult history we've had here. And this is why we move forward with intention in phases 4 and 5. And so, again, you know, thank you to the team who put this together. There's many city staff here tonight to hopefully answer any of your questions that you may have. TCHC is here, Daniels is here, Tridel is here, the Housing Secretary is here, I see Planning is here in the room, and there's a few city managers as well, I think I've seen in the back as well. So there are many people here and to answer any questions that you may have. And of course my staff is here and I'm here as well. But again, I just want to just go back and say that in the short time that I have been here and listening to some of your concerns, I know we have worked in just phases 4 and 5. For me, like I have created 637 more affordable housing spaces in phases 4 and 5. We've actually assembled 40,000 square feet of community space to be used. I've heard that in phases 1, 2, and 3, the community space that have been here is not well activated, and that you have problems accessing those spaces. So my team and I have actually taken the time to actually speak to TCHC and Daniels and others and make sure we have a record of what is available and making sure you have one point person to actually access that space. Another thing that I'm trying to do and working really hard towards is making sure that the space continues to be owned by you, not by a third party and so forth, and that it will always belong to the people of Regent Park, of this community. One of the things that we've also recognized too, even in this building, there's public space that haven't been accessible to you, and they remain vacant. And so we, with intention, have come here and went into each of the rooms in this main floor and I believe on the second floor to make sure that we can actually program the space here. So it's a learning, it's also a bit of a learning process for me as well as I enter this space and making sure that your concerns not only are heard, but our actions as well. And I think, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think that with the team that we have here, Yusuf, for example, is here. He lives in the community, he knows the people, he knows the issues, and this is why he's so well placed here to actually help us to get to a good place. Juliet as well works with Yusuf and supports him in anything that he needs. Mary, who's also in my office, grew up in Regent Park as well. So we have many eyes on this community, making sure that all the issues and concerns that you address in my office is dealt with accordingly in a timely manner. So one thing that you know about me is that I'm always available and accessible. This is why too that I opened a Constitute office right here in Regent Park at Parliament and Dundas. And I'm there every Monday myself, all day. And my staff is there Monday through Thursday from 11 to 4 p.m. So again, I do believe standing before you today is really a testament to all the things that we've done together, and it is a celebration. And that's why there's food and there's music. And again, the music is amazing, by the way. I'm so happy that the singer who was here earlier is actually from Regent Park. So, and the food that we have here today is from our community as well, and prepared right here. So we have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm thankful to be here with you to celebrate this evening.
Thank you, Councilor Moise. Thank you very much. If we can have now Tridel, Daniels, to the microphone.
Hi everyone. So great to see so many familiar faces. Really appreciate it. Can everybody hear me back there? Yeah, we're all good? So just to say hello, my name is Fatima Saya. I'm on the social impact team at the Daniels Corporation. So many of you I know, some of you I don't. Happy to make some introductions afterwards when we're after the meeting. But I wanted to share some updates just from our end and the work that we're doing in Regent. So I'm gonna, maybe Manira, I'll ask you when I need a slide, thank you. So first I wanted to provide some updates on active construction projects in the community that Daniels is building. And the first is Block 1, or what we're calling Daniels on Parliament, which you may have seen under construction currently at Gerrard and Parliament. It is the last market building in phase 3 of the revitalization. And we're looking at continuing construction this year and having occupancy sometime in 2025. There's a few other things I wanted to note about this project, some that you may have heard of and others that I'd love to draw your attention to. So slide please, Manira. The first is that as part of this project, we've actually had, Daniels has actually invested $5 million in creating additional affordable home ownership opportunities at Daniels on Parliament. So in fact, 10 families in Regent Park so far have taken advantage of that program and will become homeowners next year, which is really fantastic. And we're really happy about that opportunity that was provided really for TCHC residents living in Regent Park that have lived through the revitalization. It really is, in recognition of the folks here who want to continue to stay in their neighborhood, particularly young folks. Slide, please, Manira. Thank you. The next is upcoming community commercial opportunities. So you may know that Daniels has created this community commercial program in Regent Park that we've been working to really launch over the last 6 years. Of course, commercial spaces were challenging during COVID, but we are pushing forward and trying to continue to look for opportunities. And there will be an opportunity for community commercial space for a local entrepreneur or a local business at Block 1 or Daniels on Parliament. So make sure to keep a lookout for requests for proposals that will be released in the next, this year actually. So if you have business ideas and want to bring those forward, that will be the time to do it for sure. Slide, thank you. The next thing I just wanted to flag here, and you can come and see me if you want to chat some more about it, are some opportunities that we're actually creating for community engagement around placemaking. So something that we're doing at Daniels on Parliament is actually creating a number of placemaking initiatives. So that's really working with local artists to create art installations. We're doing benches and light poles and bike rings. You might have seen, we've done some really great artistic bike rings at Artworks Tower, which is on the corner of River and Dundas, and we worked with 3 community organizations serving youth in Regent Park to design those bike rings. So we're really excited to include community members in the design of some of these placemaking installations, so bike rings and murals and things like that. So there'll be some really cool opportunities to do that. If you'd like to get involved, please come and see me, and I'm happy to put you on the outreach list so we contact you and we start getting together about that. Good, perfect. Thanks, Manira. So the next update that I wanted to provide is related to what we call Block 14. Now, the presentation center, the Regent Park Presentation Center, has been a part of the community for now likely about, I think, 15 years almost. So it's something that you've seen for a very long time. Now, the reality is it's actually part of phase 1 of the revitalization and is going to be developed as well as part of our final market building in the community. So this is a market building that is a partnership building with Toronto Community Housing as well. So we're working really closely with their team on designing that. So we're still in design development stages for that building. Something I wanted to flag for that as well is that we're actually exploring opportunities to create affordable, additional affordable housing on that site. So more details to come on what that will look like if funding is identified through the city, but we're really excited about exploring that as well. And then lastly, again, community commercial, something that we're exploring on that site too, to create opportunities for community commercial or micro retail on that site like we have in other buildings in the final phases. Okay, now I want to share some updates on what's been sort of going on around local economic development or community economic development. And a few of these updates are really important because we have ongoing programs that if you haven't heard of yet or aren't a part of or would like to be a part of, there are still opportunities to become a part of these. So, I want to share that over the last 18 years, we've really worked on a number of different initiatives, workforce development initiatives, focused on not just the construction trades, but getting into sort of professional industries adjacent to the real estate industry. And there's been a lot of opportunities to sort of create impact. One of the ways to do that has been to hire locally ourselves. So we've hired directly 57 TCHC residents through our work. That's over $7 million in local economic development created, and that's just us, not even including our trades and our contractors and our commercial tenants that have also hired locally. So it's really been a big part of the impact, and there's still opportunities to come, particularly with commercial. So if those are opportunities that you're looking for, you can always get in touch with me. Thank you. The next one I wanted to share about is the CRAFT program. So CRAFT is actually a pre-apprenticeship program for the construction trades that we developed 9 years ago now. It is a program that provides not only paid training at the College of Carpenters, but also direct entry into Local 27, the Carpenters Union. Over the course of the past 9 years, we've had 68 TCHC residents participate and over $500,000 in local economic development from the program alone. So those 68 residents have gone on to join the union and also gained long-term employment with the union and all of those benefits. Another program I wanted to flag that is ongoing now, but will come back next year as well, is called Moving Towards Opportunity, and this is a program specifically for young people, particularly high school students in grades 11 and 12, who are looking for opportunities to really jumpstart their career and get a little bit of job experience. So we know it can be difficult. In some communities, people can ask their parents' friends or their friends' parents for internships, and we think that for us, Daniels, we're working with professional partners or development partners or commercial partners and also consultants in the industry. And if we can create opportunities for young people to get summer jobs, that will then help them figure out where they want to go in university, what they want to study, and give them kind of kickstart their career. We want to do that. So over the past 10 years, actually, we've created opportunities for over 170 youth in Regent Park, done paid summer internships, gotten experience, grown their network. I see a few MTO alumni in the audience. And also another $500,000 in local economic development created through this program. Social procurement, and I won't belabor this, but the food here tonight has all been procured locally. It is really based on relationships that we in TCHC and now Tridel is building with community organizations and folks who are sharing their skills and their culinary expertise with the rest of the community. And it's been a really important part of our work as well, to engage with artists and with caterers and with local businesses too. And we've really significantly invested in that. And even just since 2019, we've invested over $500,000 in local businesses. So we want to keep doing that too. Okay, lastly, I wanted to share a little bit about community commercial. So I mentioned there'll be community commercial opportunities at Block 1, also at Block 14. We are still ongoing. There's been a community commercial call in the last year for Artworks Tower or Block 17 South that is still ongoing. So we're working to review applications and shortlist candidates to figure out what goes into Artworks Tower on that. And then I wanted to flag as well a couple of other things. So, a really big part of creating some of these commercial spaces that are accessible to community is also bringing in folks who maybe are from the community but also outside the community to become a part of this really great neighborhood. And one of the things that we've done is partnered with the Black North Initiative to make 4 work-live artist studios available to Black artists. Looking to not only have studio space, but also affordable living space and share their craft with community. So we've got 4 work-live artists that moved into the community in 2023. The work-live studios are located in the Living Laneway, so just north of Dundas, between River and Sumac. And it's really incredible. So if you walk by there, you can see the artists at work. And for young people who are interested in getting into the arts, they really set a great example of what's possible and have programs and activities that they do to engage with the community. So I wanted to flag that with you. And then lastly, I'm going to flag quickly, just in terms of the raffle, which I know Julio very kindly reminded you all about. But we have some really great prizes, including gift cards to Pro League, which is a new sports memorabilia kind of store that has just opened on River Street, just north of Dundas. And so we've got some gift cards that we're raffling off. We've got a couple of Raptors hats that they've donated to us. So if you haven't joined the raffle yet, please do. And that's all for me.
Okay, I'm going to be a bit of a troublemaker and take the microphone out. It's a little bit easier for me. Wow, this is an amazing turnout. Like, I'm always impressed how Regent Park comes out in the cold. It's really cold outside, and I feel like everybody's here tonight. So thank you for coming, number one. Thank you for having me and having Tridel as a part of this community update meeting. This is our first one in person. It's a bit intimidating. There's a lot of people here. But we're happy to be here, and we're really excited to be a part of not just this meeting, but a part of this journey that Regent Park has been on. So we've been fortunate enough at Tridel to have this as one of 3 revitalizations that we've been able to participate in. But we were really excited about coming to this community. And I think what I want to do tonight is talk a little bit about what we've learned here, and what we're doing, and what our plans are. So I've been told I have a really tight 10 minutes, so I'm going to go through it as quickly as possible. But if you need me to slow down, put your hand up and I'll slow down. So my name is Brian Sherwood. I should have started with that. I'm the development director at Tridel. I worked for Tridel for about 7 years now, and prior to that, I worked for Toronto Community Housing and worked in Regent Park. So it's really good to be back. It feels like coming back home. Tridel is an organization that you may or may not have heard of. We're primarily a condominium builder. We've been building homes for people in different types and phases and shapes for the past 90 years. So it's a long legacy. This year is our 90th year. So we're really excited about that. We've built in our time over 87,000 homes. We've won a lot of awards for the work that we do, and that's probably because we've been doing it for a very long time. So we take a lot of pride in the type of homes that we build. One thing that's really important to us is not just Tridel as a brand, but all the companies that are within Tridel that are designed to support people and support our customers and make sure that we're giving our customers exactly what they need and what they want. So I'm not going to bore you anymore with who we are as Tridel. Let's jump into what we've learned at Regent Park. If you can go to the next slide, thank you. In 2020, in December, we joined this opportunity and this journey with Regent Park. And immediately we wanted to come and learn. There's a lot that we don't know. We've done revitalizations before, but we've never done one like this, and we've never done one in this community, so we thought we'd take some time to learn from the community what it is that's important to you. And that learning process was a long process. It took us about 2 years to really get our boots on the ground and understand what's going on. We attended over 45 events. We've interacted with over 1,500 folks to get a sense of what's important. And through that, we worked on creating a new rezoning application to see what more we could do to this project to infuse some of the ideas and thoughts and visions of folks right here in the community. And we heard back quite a bit. Like we heard back a lot from the community and what they were looking for and what you needed. We learned all the things that worked well, and there was quite a few things that worked well, and we learned about things that you wanted added. So we talked about that. And some of the things that we engaged in with the community and some of the things we implemented into the rezoning application include a new central plaza, a place that was owned by a place that could be owned by TCHC and not necessarily the city, to have things like cultural bazaars, farmers markets, places for people to sell their goods and share. Also a place where there could be micro retail, affordable brick and mortar places for folks who have businesses. We learned the importance of creating additional community space and making sure that there is good access to more community spaces. So we've implemented that in the plan. And we've also learned about the need for more connectivity across the community. So if you go to the next slide, I can show you what we were able to take away from that that engagement process. And essentially it looks like this. It's a assortment of TCHC and market condominiums, but central to the project is a library space and a central plaza that's going to be an opportunity where there will be an opportunity for the community to interact and activate and engage in. But also what we heard back was the central park that's existing today is fantastic. It's a great space and it's well used by the community, so much that there's a lot of need for even more space. So we provided that through the Central Plaza, as well as running through the community is a privately owned but publicly accessible space for the community to use and traverse through, with different places of activation. That's what we learned, that's what we implemented. And what we received was an application that went into the city for review and approval, and it was approved by City Council in December. So we're now in the throes of looking to implement the plan that was approved. Sorry, next slide. So the first stage of implementing this plan is creating new roads. So Sackville already exists as a through street, but we're going to be upgrading the services within it to support the additional homes, as well as make it more walkable and accessible for folks. And we're also creating a new street that doesn't have a name yet, but there will be a name for it. But it's a new street that's going to be also a place where the community can engage and have access. What we do also have coming up is eventually a new condominium building. There's more to talk about that later. So we look forward to engaging the community on what those plans are. We haven't started the process of designing it yet, but we will be bringing those ideas to the community. We also are thinking about creating a place for a new sales center, an opportunity where we can both engage in educating people on what this community is all about, and also having an opportunity for folks to engage and interact with us as a community. But that, again, is something that we're planning, designing, still working on, and we'll be able to present to you on another community engagement meeting. Next slide. Another thing that we learned in Regent Park in our original engagements is that it wasn't good enough for us to wait until we started to build buildings to invest in Regent Park. The community made it very clear to us that investment needs to start happening immediately, right away. So we've heard loud and clear, and we've started to invest in supporting community because we've come to learn that it's not just about bricks and mortar. It can't just be about the physical investments, but there's social investments that we need to make, so we've started that process. We've attended over 25 community events and supported them financially. We've also provided for scholarship opportunities, working with TCHC. We've also provided direct investments of over $200,000 into communities and these community events. Next slide, please. And we heard loud and clear that employment is crucial. It was the number one issue that we heard from residents when we came to the community in 2020. So what we've done is we've worked with TCHC and we've created an opportunity to ensure that we are consistently providing employment for residents all throughout the redevelopment process. To date, before starting construction, we've placed 19 folks in different jobs. We've provided full-time employment, summer internships, part-time employment for those who are looking for that. So to date, we've averaged the average income for the average wage for folks who have been employed through the programs that we've installed is about $27 an hour, which are good-paying jobs. We've also, through this time, since starting in 2021, have invested $500,000 in putting cash in the pockets of residents who live in this community. And we want to continue to do that to the tune of millions of dollars more. And we're committed to making that type of investment in Regent Park. So for those who are interested in employment or looking for an opportunity to be employed, we have a table in the back that provides flyers where you can sign up. You can go to our website at Tridel Community Works, and there are employment opportunities listed there. Next slide. Another thing that we were told very clearly when we started this engagement process was that there are a lot of entrepreneurs, people who are gifted in different skills and also gifted in bringing their skills to sale and to market and looking for opportunities to do it more. So we've partnered with quite a few local entrepreneurs. We have over 25 that we've engaged with. We were continuing to look for opportunities to work with folks who want to look to expand their businesses. especially those businesses that are supported through the revitalization and through construction and development. Today, we've awarded over $50,000 in 2 local businesses, and there's a lot more planned for that. Like I said, we're just getting started. So if you have a business and you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to support the revitalization or do things like what we've had today, where meals are provided, we want to work with you, and we want to give you the opportunity to register through our website. It's listed here, rp4and5.ca. And also, if you want to learn more about what we're doing in the last phases of this revitalization, you can go to that website. We have a lot of information posted there. I'm sure there's going to still be a lot more questions for us, so we'll be able to contact and connect with anybody after the meeting if you have anything else that you want to talk about. But that, I believe, is my last slide. And I think I did in 10 minutes. Yes? No? Okay, close? All right. Thank you very much. I think, is it Peter that's next? Okay.
One of the Peters.
One of the...
Good evening. My name is Peter Clues. I'm a partner in the firm Architects Alliance in Toronto, and one of the architects for the first new building in the final 2 phases. First of all, I just want to say I've been practicing about 40 years, and I've been to many, many public meetings. And I have to say, this is the coolest one. There's live music, food, and your counselor showing us his dance moves up here. This is a bit like a return to Regent Park for us. About 18 years ago, we won a limited design competition for the first building in Regent Park, 250 Sackville. And it's kind of very fitting for us and very nice to be able to come back again and work on the final phase. So having worked on the first phase and now we're working on the final phase, there's a kind of a nice bookend to that. And we're working on this project with another firm, a Copenhagen-based architectural design firm called COBA. And we've been working with COBA in Toronto for the past number of years, and we've deliberately invited them on our team because we actually believe that this city and this community actually need many voices in terms of architectural design. And so we recently finished a project with them at the south end of Canary District, where there are 3 buildings. We worked together and separately with them, where we did 1 building and they did 2. And this one is a completely interlaced project between 2 design offices. On the screen is the site plan. So this is the first project being proposed for the final 2 phases. And what we're doing is we're following exactly to the letter the rezoning that went through that was just described to you previously. So on the left-hand side of the image is Dreamer's Way. Gerard is at the top of the street, at the top of the screen rather. And then the new so-called Street G that is yet to be named on the right-hand side of the image. And so completing the block is a new landscaped Muse Street, which will run from Dreamer's Way all the way to River Street. So those are really the 4 principal streets that define the block. The project is going to include about 275 units, of which, and this is for TCHC, so it's all affordable housing. It's not condominium. It will be comprised of a mix of units, of which 80% will be 2 bedrooms and larger. So there's a real focus on families for this project. It will also include a 15,000 square foot community space, which is shown here in that kind of ochre color that Peter Zimmerman will speak to after I sit down and tell you what the sort of aspirations are for that space. And 10,000 square foot retail space fronting onto Gerard. So the opportunity here is to really reactivate the south side of Gerard all the way from Dreamer's Way over to River Street. So to put in street-related community uses. Next slide. So this is 250 Sackville. So we won this competition 18 years ago. I probably can't be objective about this, but I think it's a good building, and I think, and I'm still proud of this building. I'm not proud of every project we've done, but I'm particularly proud of this project because it was based on the premise of trying to create what architects call fabric housing. That is, buildings that sit into a community and sort of grow and age gracefully with that community. So this building was deliberately designed to first and foremost provide great housing and community services and activation at grade, but also not to be a deliberate sort of look at me building. We were not trying to be fancy, we're just trying to be good, solid, beautiful, compelling, well detailed architecture. Next slide, please. So this is very early days. This is a very preliminary shot of what we're now working on with COVA. And the intention is to try and do a similar building in the sense that it will fit seamlessly into the neighborhood and age gracefully. And so it's comprised of a 6-story and then a 4-story portion facing onto Girard. So this is Girard here. So this is Girard here, so we're sort of looking south and slightly east. So this would be 6 stories. And then a 4-story portion there. It doesn't like me standing here. And then a 26-story building that is deliberately at the back of the site, away and off Girard, which was the intention of the original zoning. Next slide, please. So this is just a shot of the Girard Street. So the idea here is to have really animated retail, as I said, facing the south side of Girard. And we're widening the sidewalk. There will eventually be a bike lane adjacent to that sidewalk, so it'll be a very, very wide sidewalk, which will be planted with trees. And we imagine spill-out space from that retail, and it is the aspiration of TCHC to try to get a food store in there, a community food store that would also have an adjunct cafe that could actually spill out onto that sidewalk. Next slide, please. And then on the south side of the project is the new landscape Muse Street. So this is, as I said, running from Dreamers Way all the way over to eventually to River Street. And it's deliberately a meandering path that will be comprised of trees and bushes and flowers and plants in an area of really pedestrian-oriented circulation spine, which we think will really help to anchor both sides of these final 2 faces, both on the north side of that fronts on the Girard, and to the south of that will come in the future. Just another couple of shots just showing you the idea. Probably hard to see here because it's pretty washed out. And so we're interested in hearing your thoughts and whatever, questions, I suppose, in the fullness of time. And you know, you have my commitment that what we're trying to do here is something that will be really beautiful and compelling. Thank you.
Hi, I'm the other Peter. My name is Peter Zimmerman. I'm the Senior Director on the development team at Regent Park, and it's great to be here. And I feel like I know so many people here, and there's a lot of new faces, and we're just really excited about this project and being able to present the work that we've been doing with you and our partners over the last couple of years tonight. Peter Clues was talking about this first building, and we are at the beginning of the end of a really long process of working with the community and planning and designing, and we're getting now ready to start the real construction work. So you will see next week there will be fencing going up on the parts of Regent Park that we're going to begin demolishing this year. So the first building, the one that Peter was talking about, is actually going to be located right here. And adjacent to that, that's where the first 2 market buildings with our partners Tridel are going to be built as well. So you'll see fencing going up. The demolition work is going to be ongoing over the course of the rest of the year. Really, really focused on 3 major concerns: safety, efficiency. We want to get it done quickly as possible because it's a pain. demolition. It causes noise and problems in the community, so we want to get it done as quickly as possible. And we want to minimize the impact on the community. There will be a number that you can call if there's a problem. The councillor's office is really deeply involved in it, and they're really concerned about it. So we're going to do this quickly. We're going to do it efficiently, and we're going to do it safely. The demolition team is here tonight, and they'd be happy to answer any questions if you have. We at the end of the meeting. So we're really excited about that. So next week, that's all going to begin. Next slide. So the other thing I wanted to update you on is this building that is coming close to completion. It's 175 Oak Street. This is the project that is directly across Tubman from the Aquatic Center. So you've seen it in construction over the last 3 years. The building is now all enclosed. They're working on the interiors of the building. We're going to be ready for occupancy in August, September of this year. And we have a relocation team here. So if you're one of the families, one of the households that's waiting to relocate into a new Regent Park housing, please contact them. They're going to be here and they'll be available, and we'll be giving you information about what that process is going to look like. And that building is going to have 213 RGI and affordable rental units. It's going to have lots of great amenity space. It's going to have, we heard from people that they want great community gardens, so there are big community gardens built into the building. And so we're really, really proud of this. This is a building that we're working on with Daniels, and we're really happy about the progress we've made on it. Look forward to people moving in this year and having a celebration there. Next slide. So this is back to the plan that Brian presented earlier. And I wanted to use this slide to highlight some of the really important work that we're going to be doing this year with our engagement team. So this year, as we're getting ready to build that first TCHC building, we want to reach out to the community and talk about all of the space, particularly in this area at the western end of the phase 4 and 5 site. And we want to talk about what's going to be happening in that building. So in that building, we've got 15,000 of the new community space, 15,000 feet of that new community space that we're planning on building. And we're going to be beginning an engagement process where we want to find out what are the priorities in the community for that space. And we're going to culminate it to hold a request for expressions of interest to identify the end users for that space later this year. This has been a commitment that TCHC has made for many years, that in phases 4 and 5, there was going to be a request for expressions of interest for a community use in one of the spaces in Regent Park. And we decided we wanted to get it done as quickly as possible and get that out to the community. So by the end of this year, we're going to be able to announce this request for expressions of interest. So we're really, really excited about that. We're also going to be talking about how we animate all of that new open space. What are the programs that are going to be in there? What other things are really important to residents? And that's going to be part of a conversation that we're going to be having over the rest of the course of this year. Next slide. And I think we turn it over to Teresa.
Thank you, Peter, and good evening, everyone. I'm just checking that you can hear me at the back. Yay. So my name is Teresa. I'm the Revitalization Engagement Manager with TCH, and I'm also here with my fantastic team, Raphael, Aisha, and Peter, who you've probably seen hovering around making sure that you have everything you need. I wanted to talk a little bit about what we do. And as you know, living in the community, revitalization projects are complex, anything from construction and also the social development element of it as well. So that's where we come in. We're here to support our residents to get access to information, to help realize your vision for the community and make sure that that is communicated to TCHC and also to our developer partners, Tridel, Daniels. and others who come into the space, like the City of Toronto and all of the other agencies and partners that we have here. So we work really, really closely with the community and everyone who has anything to do with Regent Park as well. What we also do is leverage opportunities from our developers. As you already heard from Daniels and Tridel, there are a lot of employment and training program opportunities, and we're here to make sure that you're connected to whatever it is that you need, and we meet residents where they're at. So all of those amazing programs that are being put forward, it's all feedback that's coming from you, the residents of the community. So please always come and talk to us. We're open to building new ideas, new programs as the community is changing and maturing into what we have today. We did a few things in 2023, and I say a few because I only have 7 minutes, so I've been cut even shorter. But we're very excited that we did our phases 4 and 5 rezoning process that was approved last year. I know a lot of you came to our informations, consultations, co-design workshops, community walks over the last few years. And this is now the plan that we have and we're presenting in front of you today. We also opened one of our last lanes in phase 3, which is actually named after a beloved community member. So that was an amazing community celebration, and we're looking forward to also naming more streets as the plan continues. So put your name forward. We support a number of different community events and make those as accessible and barrier-free as possible for members. So anything from our Summer Safety Jam, which is done in partnership with our Community Safety Unit, the police, youth organizations, Taste of Regent Park, Sunday in the Park, all of the park events that we support with Friends of Regent Park and the Bake Oven, and a number of other things that happen in the community throughout the year. 7 minutes, can't go on. And lastly, our community benefits engagement process is underway. So for those of you who might not know, and I hope that there are no people in the room who don't know what that is, in 2022, when Tridel came on board as our developer partner for phases 4 and 5, one of their most important elements of the proposal was a commitment to $26.8 million of community benefits that will be directly invested into the Regent Park community. And so we set out on a new process that we've never done before with support from local community members to identify exactly how that money will be invested in the community. And so if you don't mind, when you're going on to the next slide. Over 3 months, starting from April of last year, community animators, TCHC staff, our advisory group members, Tridel, and many others in the community went door to door, community events, held their own pop-up sessions to spread a survey around, which basically asked you, how do you see that money being invested? What are the key priorities that you'd like to see really come to light out of the last 2 phases? And you told us there was a fantastic response from the community. 1,064 residents actually completed that survey. And that meant we had to go to work. So we read every survey response, every comment, every suggestion in order for us to come up with the list that you have here. And those are the priorities that the community told us they want the investments to go into. Nothing was missed out of that survey. Everything you said was important to you, we are including within those packages. So I'll just read them out for those at the back who might not have very good vision like myself. What we have is employment and employment supports, outfitting and operations of multi-purpose space, scholarships, skills and job training programs, business development supports and social procurement, ongoing local granting with specific focus on safety and youth programs. So what you'll see coming up this year is we're co-creating 3 packages that will be presented for you to do a final vote and decide exactly how much money will be allocated to each of those priority areas. So please watch out. That's something that's coming up in sort of the spring, summer, more information to come on that as well. We're also very excited to launch Regent Park's first scholarship program later this year. So yes, I see a few hands. Pew, louder, go on. And that's something that I know has been, very much advocated for within the community. TCHC has an established scholarship process that's worked really well in other communities, and we're very excited to bring this forward to Regent Park as well. We'll also be supporting the refresh of the social development plan priorities. That's the fund that's been governing the social transformation within Regent Park. So as the community is evolving, there are new things that come up, and how we work to address them together is really important as well. And last but not least, we are very excited to welcome back Regent Park residents to 175 Oak Street to really animate that space, to make sure that they are feeling welcomed and back into their community as well. So thank you very much for listening, and I will pass it over for closing remarks. Not yet.
So no closing remarks. Can everyone hear me? Good evening, everyone. I can promise you this is the last bit of slides for today, but I don't have any exciting announcements about revitalization, but this is a reminder for all of our tenants at Regent Park, all of our partners, and also community agencies, that we have a process called Use of Space, and my title is the Strategic Service Partnership and Compliance Team. My name is Farhad Youssef, the acting manager for that team. And part of what we do is welcome tenants and welcome agencies to bring supports and programs, to many of which I'm sure you've participated in over the years with phases 1 to 3. The reason why I've been invited today, and I'm very, very appreciative of that, is we've been having lots of discussions about how do we ensure that Regent Park tenants know how to access the process in which that they can actually book spaces, so that they can actually govern how the amenity spaces functions. We've been working very closely with Councillor Chris Boyce's office as well. They've been hearing from you on the ground about how this amenity spaces could actually galvanise and animate more new ideas, so when phases 4 and 5 come, that there's reference points that they could point towards. And so what we do, essentially, we're a centralised division in TCHC. We're parts of what's called programs and partnerships. So rookie leagues, the MLS soccer, and things of that nature are part of our team. But our particular division concentrates on ensuring that all of the policy that governs use of space is done. So I know many of you who have submitted applications in the past understand the process, but for those of you that don't, we're just going to do a quick walkthrough of what that process looks like. The idea really is to ensure that whatever program that you would like to invite other tenants to, that we have to follow the compliance around insurance and really how that space is inviting for all tenants. One of our guiding principles is free of charge. So whenever you see or you're invited to programming spaces in Regent Park, it's not meant to be a fee associated. It's programming spaces that's supposed to be accessible for all. And really it's about how partnerships in communities actually do work without facing any type of discrimination or barriers. We also create partnerships. So we have lots of community agencies that are already doing work in and around Regent Park. And when they come to us and say, hey, we would like to actually bring forth some new programming, that's something that we obviously very welcome, and we work with our regional team. So with the regional team, it's the community safety and support, and I'm going to be able to give a shout out to one key member of that, who is I'm sure going to be famous by this evening. Can we go to the next slide, please? So for phases 1 to 3, the community spaces that you have are listed here. Many of these spaces coexist within your buildings. There have been maybe events in the past that either TCHC staff have actually facilitated, or you have perhaps actually booked spaces in there. And so for us, what we wanted to really showcase is this tremendous asset belongs to the community. And there are 2 documents that's actually on the table on that side there that actually lists these community spaces out. So for those of you that want to take pictures, I can rest assured that we do have a paper document for you to take away for this evening. The other thing that I just want to point out is when we list out these spaces, I think there's maybe an idea that comes to be that why do some of these spaces, as scattered as they are, why is there no real linkage towards some of those spaces? And so for us, it's from a centralized division, we really look to the community to help bring that linkage together, right? And so if you have a yoga program happening at 110 River Street, you then may be invited to something else at 230 Sackville. I do know that the website that Councillor Moyes' office, as well as Teresa's team, is ensuring that that could become more accessible. So then that way, the Regent Park tenants are actually aware of some of the great programs and service offerings that's happening within your community. And that's where you play a really, really big part in doing so. So this is the last slide that we would like to showcase with you today. So my team primarily administers these 2 sets of applications. So one of them is the one-time use of space applications, and these are just either one-off events or ideas that maybe tenants want to come together. That's typically, it takes about 5 days of processing time. And the longer one is the reoccurring use of space. So that's anything that has any kind of a long-term programming. And we do actually accept applications from either agencies or tenant groups. I do want to stress for tenants, there's a requirement for insurance which is free of charge. So we do not ask tenants to pay for insurance or have their own separate insurance. But for the agencies themselves, there is a requirement for them to actually bring their own insurance. And then I'm sure I'm going to be asked the question about private bookings. So for those of you that would like to use the space for your own private event, that's done mainly in the local hub office. That's not actually an application that we process, and there is a fee cost associated to that. And so that information is included in the FAQs for tonight for you to take away. But for those private bookings, that's done in the local office team. So that's just something I just wanted to highlight. Last but not least, I did want to really introduce to you your community services coordinator, Felicia White, who some of you may not know, but Felicia, if you'd like to just stand up. So Felicia White is the central point of contact for where you would like to really inquire about booking spaces for either programs, or you would like to, as an agency, maybe perhaps come to Regent Park. That's your go-to person. And the reason why we want to emphasize that is there is a local connection here, and that local connection is that somebody from the community safety and support team really is promoting the idea that you as a tenant can access space. And so Felicia will be able to help you navigate what the application requirements are, what are the insurance requirements, and I think most importantly, tell you also about what other bookings may be taking place. And so once all of that is sorted, then that's when my team then takes over and hopefully efficiently processes your application. So With that being said, thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fahad. Let's give a round of applause to all the presenters that were before us tonight. Thank you. So we're going to move now into the second component of our session, which is the Q&A. We have a bit of a process for that. There is a lot of us here in the room, and we want to make sure that we can hear from as many residents as possible. So for that, if you have a question, and there's a staff around that is going to be taking your name as you put your hand up. And there is another staff that is going to be passing the microphone, and that's how we're going to receive the questions. So just to make sure that everyone has a chance to speak, we're going to give you 2 minutes for speaking, and then we're going to answer, if it's a question, we're going to answer that question. And I think Rafael, what you are?
Yes,
Please.
very good. Okay, so we have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Julio. I just want to say thank you. This was an amazing night. Usually we get stressed out. We just want to come and get you, all of you. But this time, and I've been invited and come and ask questions. In the past, oh, sorry, it's here. This is the last one. Close the door. So, and I really appreciate it. So the question for the city councilor also, and they have done a lot of amazing stuff. But in terms of athletic grounds, I don't think much been done. Access to the community members who lives in Regent Park need to have a priority. Internally, like inside the community, access to the community center, a lot of the space, and I really appreciate reaching out and knowing what we need and what can be, how do we close the gap, and I really appreciate it. Peter, not the Peter TCHC, the first Peter. You mentioned about 252 Sackville. Yes, yeah. You mentioned about sometimes the builders, they get so proud and they forgot about the people, the senior buildings, supposed to have 4 elevators. I'm not sure you were thinking to save money or something. We had really difficulties, the seniors, and seeing them suffering. In thinking about in the future, make sure we have enough elevator. If you are thinking skyride the buildings, make sure that, like, keep in mind, like, people are the old people or vulnerable people are living on those buildings. Make sure that not putting a cheap stuff anymore, like putting durable that could be working. We don't want to fix it after 10 years. Like, do give us very quality stuff, like, really. Not everybody has the time to go to all advisory and all of the stuff. The people who do go, like, I know you need to have 2 minutes, but like, I need to answer. I need to ask my question. I don't want to go home without asking my question. Another thing that I want to say, you mentioned about 2 bedrooms. Like, Regent Park family has a big family numbers. Like, I don't know why you guys are cutting down the numbers. It's supposed to be putting back those, whatever that we lost, put it back. The big family need to live in the community. You cannot push them anymore. And we need to build more 2 bedrooms. In terms of demolition, in the past, we had a couple of times not spraying enough water, and people are gonna get sick. We have a lot of families who have allergies. Like, make sure the demolition people who are here spray enough water. Be mindful of the children who are running around. We don't want to get sick, and we don't want to die early as well. This is the last one. Okay, this is the last one. In terms of the space, it's too long to have, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Soraya, for always advocating very loudly.
This is the last one. In terms of the space, it's too long for 6 weeks. If the kids have getting married or engagements, going to, I have experience a couple of weeks ago. It's too long to wait. If you don't apply 6 weeks in advance, advance, you don't get a space, private space, engagement, wedding, Mother's Day, whatever. Sometimes you apply in a week, 2 weeks. If the space is available, just give them. That's it.
Again, thank you, Saria. You're one of the greatest advocates for Regent Park and always has been, and we very much appreciate that. And you and I have a very strong relationship, and I do respect the feedback that you give me on a regular basis, and I do take it to heart, and I do actionize it. In regards to public spaces like the parks, I have been working with city staff. Lucky Booth is here, who's the manager of the spaces here in Regent Park, and the downtown area. So again, he probably can give you more information than I can because he's the one who's on the ground trying to figure these things out. But I know on my part, though, I have spoken to city parks, the executives around actually making sure Regent Park is a priority when it comes to public spaces, like the Pam McConnell pool, for example. We've tried to make sure that our community have access rather than going to citywide. One of the things that I'm doing, for example, for the ice rink over here, we have used Section 37 funds from my office to create a hut, I guess, or a house, what you call it, for the Zamboni to actually be on site so that our community has more ice time in the winter months. Because that was a problem that I heard that was an issue. And I actively went to council, authorized funds for that to happen. And that's in the works of taking place now. In regards to the fields, I hear you. Again, our community should have priority rather than people from across the city having access and we don't. So those are conversations I continue to have and insist upon by our leadership at the city to address those very serious concerns that you've brought up. And again, Lucky Booth is here. He is on the ground working with me and with you to make sure that space is given to us.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Where is Peter? Who's next? Ralph.
Nathaniel? Okay, everybody, we would like to hear as many people as possible. So unfortunately, we gotta stick to the 2 minutes. Please elaborate your question as objective as possible so we can hear the voice from more people here today, okay? We don't want to cut you off. Thank you very much, Surya. And if you have follow-up questions, please come to us. We are right there to take note and get back to you with our best, okay? Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm a Regent Park resident. I think this is for Tridel about definition of affordable housing. I want to express my concerns about the use of market-based definition for affordable housing in phase 4 and 5 of Regent Park's developmental. Highlights that under this definition of affordable housing is paid as 80% of the market rent, and particularly why you believe this is not generally affordable. Reference the city prefers by law OPP 588, which define affordable housing based on income no more than 30% of household income, and questions why this standard is not being applied.
So I knew that question would have been asked, and I have actually invited the Housing Secretariat Department of the city here to answer that very question.
Thanks very much, Councillor. Councillor, thanks for the invitation. The Housing Secretariat is happy to be here, and what a great event. I'll keep this brief. We agree. The OPA 558 definition and income-based definition of affordability is far more in line with the city's take on a human rights approach to housing. Right. The reason it was adopted in about 3 years ago, but not enacted until about a year ago, was due to an appeal. So this is a project that whose business case preceded the adoption of that new level of affordability. the city embraces that level of affordability, the income-based, because it should be based on, affordability should be based on what people make and not on the rate of what market rate is. And what we see is that rents are rising at an exponentially quicker level than what people are making, right? So it's better to tether that to what people make rather than what the cost of things are. And the city acknowledges that by having adopted that. This is a project that preceded that. So we're at the level of 80% average market rent for these additional affordable housing. So these are additional units that the councillor worked hard with the development team and the city and the mayor to secure on this, to secure in this in phases 4 and 5. So these are additional density, additional units, additional affordable units to the old definition. What goes into achieving affordability in a project is a lot of different factors, right? It's the cost of construction, it's sensitive to interest rates because there's borrowed money, it's about exemptions and waivers that the city can offer, it's about funding that the city can bring. It's really also about what the other levels of government can bring to the table. And one of the things we really need to achieve any affordability, even at 80%, is a partner in the federal government in terms of CMHC and getting access to lower cost financing for projects like this. And our office and the development team work hard with CMHC, the federal body, to secure for this project just that. And we meet with them frequently, and that's the way we try to bring the affordability down. So as this development moves forward, we'll continue to work very hard to find ways to layer more funding or more available funding to maximize affordability on this site. It might mean more access to rent geared to income subsidies and housing benefits. It might mean other levels of government coming to the table with new funding packages. But we'll work very hard, and a redevelopment of this size goes building by building. So we'll work, the business case goes building by building as we move through it. And we'll work very hard with TCHC, the councillor, and those levels of government to try to find ways to drive that affordability down and further down as we move through these buildings. Hope that answers the question. I'm here for any others.
Thank you, Noah. We're gonna go to the next question.
Over here. Just to have an announcement, desserts are being served over here, okay?
It's supposed to be Inez. Inez is the next one on the speaker's list. Inez is next on the speaker's list. Yeah.
My question is regarding the playground and also spaces for kids where they can play. I see you guys are building lots of buildings. Did you guys think about the kids? Summertime, the playground is packed. And there's no enough space. People are moving in, but the playground is the same size and it's impacting kids' play time. So do you guys thought about it winter time to cover the playgrounds and also the athletic grounds where kids can still come and play? And the other thing, I see you guys are building beautiful things. We come here every year, we see it, and yet we're still waiting on the affordable housing. You guys, it seems like you show off to us, but we can't get one of them. Like my house is overcrowded, and people can't afford it to rent spaces, but we're not receiving it. We are like 10 years waiting on the waiting list. So I want to answer for that, because every year I'm asking the same question, and I see that the community still need space for their kids to get married, their family to get separated. That's my two questions.
Thank you, honey.
Thanks, those are really great questions, and I think it really reflects what we heard when we had the engagement process when we were looking at the rezoning. Because I don't know if people remember what the old plan looked like before we started thinking about re-envisioning phases 4 and 5, but there wasn't any opportunities for new open space as a part of that plan. So part of the plan was to create new open spaces, and now we have the opportunity through the rezoning to work with the community to find out what's actually going to be happening there. So we're going to develop that plan in consultation with the community. We want to hear what's important to the community and make sure that we build it into the plan as we move forward. The other thing about the delivery of the housing, we hear it loud and clear. We're trying to get these projects built as quickly as possible. The building that we're working on right now, the one that we talked about tonight, we hope to be in construction by the end of this year and get it built as quickly as possible. So right now, this year, we're going to have the units in 175 Oak Street are coming online. So 213 families are going to get homes there. And then we're going to move very... That building, so, Rabia, that building is... I'll let you finish.
We smell the dust. We volunteer in our community, but there is no appreciation. There is no 6 people in 1 bedroom. There is no. We need action from you, Peter. You just talk. She's right.
So I want to finish answering this question, and I want to be respectful of the process and make sure that everyone gets a. I hear you. I don't want to respond to that now. You've had many conversations about this. But let's hold on a second. I think I need to finish one question. I think I need to respond to the question that was asked. I can.
Next question. We gotta go next.
All right. So anyway, the answer to the question is, we hear you. We're trying to build these buildings as quickly as possible. 175 Oak Street. Most of those units are going to be RGI replacement units. They're part of our commitment to rehouse everybody who lived in Regent Park in RGI housing. And that's been an ironclad commitment from the beginning of this process. Everyone who was living in Regent Park is going to get the opportunity to continue to live in Regent Park. And that's going to be the primary use of that building. Okay.
Thank you very much, Peter. I just want to take the chance to remind everyone that we have a speaker list. Please, if you have a question, comment, please put your hand up so that we can get your name and you will have a chance to a question. I think the next person is at the back. Right, there you go. Rafa?
Yeah. I'm going to give the microphone to the empanada lady, so if you like the empanada, you can clap your hands, okay? Yeah, see? You like the empanada.
Okay, so my first thing regarding about the architect that showed that video of that condo, that condo looks like a jail, or it looks like a jail or a courthouse. The second one is the, regarding about the art, are you guys going to have tenants sitting in the architect like before Daniel's Corporation had that? But for some reason we got booted out from there, and I hope that doesn't happen in the future. And another one is regarding about Wally, that's been here in this community for a very long time, selling vegetables. He's been giving the runaround since phase 1. And now he doesn't have a spot. I would like to know what's happening with Wally. We need to buy our products from him because he does sell it at a lower price and a very good deal. Thank you.
So in response to your first question, we debated whether or not we're going to show some imagery of that first building. And as Peter said, this is really preliminary. There's a whole process involved in designing the building, and Toronto Community Housing has a design review panel. It's an open process. We invite residents to be a part of it. There are tenant reps on the design review panel, so this is just the beginning. And we wanted to share some images of the beginning, and you'll see something more developed as the days go by. We've heard what you've said about that. Second question about Wally, the fruit market. We worked very hard to try to find him a new home. We're still committed. If he wants to be back in Regent Park, I don't want to get into the details of it, but he was not simply evicted. I can assure you that we worked. We know it's important. We know he was providing an important service, to residents in Regent Park, and we worked very, very closely with him to try to find them a new home. None of those opportunities were worked out, but there is an opportunity for him to come back at a future date.
Thank you, Vito. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, we have a next question over here from Miguel.
Good evening. My name is Miguel, and I am a TCHC resident. I have a question for the city. My concern is regarding the affordable housing guarantee. We are guaranteed 40 years on phases 4 and 5. So my question is, why can't we extend it to perpetuity? Because that will give us long-term needs and stability for our community of Regent Park. I would like to have an explanation, an answer, and I'd like to encourage you to tell us how we can have for perpetuity RGI in Regent Park. Also, can we have more RGI units in phases 4 and 5? Thank you.
Thanks, Miguel. I maybe, Noah, you might want to respond to part of it, but first of all, I want to put to bed once and for all the idea that the housing that we're building, the TCHC housing, is only going to be available for 40 years. It is housing that is being built to be affordable housing in perpetuity, full stop. Perpetuity. The housing is being built to be affordable housing in perpetuity. There's some confusion about language that was in the bylaw. The bylaw does not govern the underlying principles that govern what we do as a City of Toronto housing agency. The housing is owned by you. It is owned by the city. It will be affordable in perpetuity. Okay, but I think that's the best we can do. It is not housing that will be lost.
Thank you, Peter. I think we're going up here.
Shazam.
Hold on a second.
Great question. Thanks, Miguel, for that. RGI is important to the city. RGI is important to the mayor. That's why she's pledged to create thousands of new RGI units over this 10-year plan. New RGI units require funding approval by the city. For instance, for 2024, another 1,300 RGI units were approved. This is annual funding that gets approved annually, right? This is subsidies that are tied to tenants, typically for new RGI, and they get approved every year. So the city needs to create them, find the funding, approve them and move forward with them and find the funding, or they have to find the funding from another source or other housing benefits to layer on to subsidize those. But it's absolutely in the mayor's sight, and that's why she's pledged to thousands more over the next 8 years. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you. We're coming here to the front.
Hello. Hello, my name is Shazia Bahia, and I'm a longtime resident of Regent Park. I'm also a member of the Regent Park Tenants Rights Association. And we've been out and contacting the mayor's office, and last week we had a meeting at the mayor's office and several different affiliated people. So we were wondering about like an office space that we can actually get together and work and provide support for our community. So we're wondering if there's any answers that we can get today. And just to go back to another thing that Soraya mentioned about the 6 weeks for the amenity room. Yeah, if there's availability for the amenity room space that the tenant wants to book, if it's under 6 weeks and if it's free and available, if we can get that done. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Other question?
I'll take the first part of it. So I was at that meeting with you in the mayor's office, and our commitment is to meet with you and see what we can work out. And we're if we can find space for your organization, we'd really love to be able to do that. So yeah, I know that we're going to be meeting in the coming days to have that conversation. So thanks for raising that again.
So I think I just want to clarify. So for the 6 weeks, I think we're talking about, is it a private booking?
Yeah.
That's okay. So we have our colleague here who is Tiffany Lambert, who's the supervisor for tenancy management. Tiffany, do you just want to come up 2 seconds? Oh, okay, I'm just going to give you an update. So the 6-week timeline is actually not a legislation that we brought up. So this is to do with insurance. So I want to just clarify for you all as the audience, and I'm going to make it as plain language as possible. If you want to do a private booking, you are required to do 3 payments. So that's a deposit, that's the payments of the actual room rental, and then it's also for the insurance. Now, our insurance provider has actually recently notified us that they are going to be using a third party. And that third party has added an additional number of weeks to which you would have to let us know in advance. So we understand that that's obviously a process that is new, it's been revised. That's not something that my department deals with. So I think I've just seen some nods of heads. We will be taking that back to the business and really reiterating that there is frustration, and if we can actually try to trim some of that timeline. But that's just to let you know that that's a new process that's just been recently introduced. So that's only for private bookings. For non-private bookings, tenants will not be charged and insurance will be included as part of your booking fee. One of the just examples I can give to you is when we talk about just the one-time use of space, if you're doing something that has a community initiative, so you're inviting, so for example, Ramadan's coming up and we have many tenants who do an iftar and they invite other tenants, we would not be charging you for that use of that space. However, the condition is that you invite others as well, right? So we've tried to actually ensure that there's inclusivity and there's accessibility for all, and it's not only a private event for just your neighbors. So that's just to clarify in doing so. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going back to the back over there.
Yeah. We have Michael here.
Okay, so we previously talked about alternatives instead of the REOI, request for expressions of interest for space use. I mean, the problem with REOI space use is that NGOs are basically private clubs, and you may be able to sort of ensure that the right kinds of services are provided that way, but you won't be able to ensure who is running them and that it's really a good process. And it doesn't really help much with not like once a week bookings. I mean, people to fix this and come up with an alternative that is closer to the Association of Community Centers model, whether or not the city wants that exact model or not, but something closer to that rather than a request for expressions of interest that go to privately controlled NGOs. The only way you're going to be able to do that is if you hold separate meetings with me, since I was excluded from your main meeting body, hold separate meetings with me to come up with and design a proper process for space use.
Thank you,
Michael. Yeah, Michael, thanks for that. And we've had this conversation a number of times, and we're committed to a process over this year through this non-residential space strategy, and we'd like you to be a part of it. We're not going to exclude you from it. We'd like you to be a part of it. We do want to have a public process at the end of this where the community has a voice in deciding who is going to be using it, and how that request for expressions of interest is going to be framed. The councillor's office is deeply involved with it. They have a very strong interest in making sure that the end users for those spaces really reflect the needs and desires of residents in the community. So we're working very closely with them to make sure that that process, and when we do have that public that request for expressions of interest, does reflect the needs and the desires of residents in the community And we do invite you to continue to be a part of it, Michael. Thank you.
I'm not a part of it. I'm not a part of designing a replacement for an ROI process. When will you meet with me to come up with an alternative process, not to participate in the process that doesn't work?
Thank you, Michael. We're coming here to the front.
Yes, we have Marlene here.
Hi, thank you very much. Yeah, I want to talk a little. You brought some really interesting things here tonight, and much of it is really good. But there are a couple of things that are missing that I'd like to talk about. And one of them, first of all, my name is Marlene DeGenova. I'm on the SDP. I'm one of the co-chairs of the SDP, and CBOG, which is the oversight committee for this $26.5 million that has come into our community. What we haven't talked much about is the SDP, which you seem to kind of brush over. The SDP is the governing body of this community, and it's actually a place where we really do have something to say about our community. Much of what you see here, we really have nothing to say. This is brought to us. And as I said, a lot of it is very good. But when the revitalization came here, the idea was we would take part in what comes into our community. And one very good place for that to happen was the SDP, our Social Development Plan. And all I've seen so far is the undermining of the SDP. And it's been an arbitrary undermining. And as far as I'm concerned, it's an undermining by TCHC.
Don't tell me my time is up, because people have spoken longer than that. We also have the CBOG.
So just in response to the social development plan, we do realize it is a highly important part of this revitalization. It was mandated by the City of Toronto to complement the physical redevelopment of your community. It is of utmost importance, not only to Toronto Community Housing, Daniels as a developer, Tridel as a developer, but also the City of Toronto. And as such, to give you an update on your social development plan, the city is engaged with the SDP stakeholders table to conduct a refresh of the SDP. So it meets the priorities. It meets the priorities of the community as they emerge over the years. And through that, an update should be given later on this year, probably likely near the end of summer, as to what those refresh priorities would be in your community. So TCHC did not make a decision with regards to the social development plan. This was a direction taken forward by the City of Toronto. And
how about CBOG?
yeah. So, and we are working, thank you very much, Marlene, for your comments. With regards to the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group, we will be providing updates to the community on a regular basis. And so I think we should move on to the next question, because I do not...
People, they're not happy. They do not want you to know that they arbitrarily shut down people's voices.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm not a tenant rep no more.
Yeah. So our next question, please. Next question. Over to Raphael.
Turn on the mic.
Hello, Jim Store.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Stoner. I'm in my 25th year of volunteering at the community center. So I come, like a lot of residents, from a long time ago. And when this all started with North and South Region, I'm a hockey guy. We had 2 ice rinks. Right? Part of the development was we lost an ice rink. We only had 4,300 people in this development. Now there's going to be 56,000, which is huge. My concern is that we need a roof on the ice rink. We lose 50% of the time for it to be used. And it's not just for hockey. Pickleball's getting big. Other community events could use the arena more. Right now, the studies have been proven with the Parks and Rec at Greenwood, which has a roof, 98% usage. Now, the studies here for our rink, it only gets used 40 to 50% of the time. And now the reason is because of inclement weather. So my question is for the councillor. How do we proceed and get further ahead? I've been trying 25 years, and you know, like I'm a sports guy. I've mentored a lot of children with Regent Park families here.
So like I mentioned, I am bringing a Zamboni to the Regent Park ice rink over here so that there'll be more ice time. But also too, I've been working with the Mossbuck Arena board to actually revitalize that space and to make sure that our community here at Regent Park have more access to it. So the Regent Park Arena is the only arena downtown, that city-owned arena downtown that's actually covered and is available all year round. So for me, it has been revitalized in the last, well, I don't think ever. They replaced the roof on that about a year or so ago, which at a cost of $1 million. But I'm actively actually trying to fundraise. We may have actually a fundraiser there next year and raise about $250,000. We're in the early stages of that, but also to complement that with city capital to revitalize that space as well. So there are things in the works for that to happen. But again, in regards to this arena over here, there's actually no conversations about covering it up over the summer months.
Thank you, Councillor. I think we have a question back there. Thanks.
Yes, Ilona.
Hi, everyone. This is directed to all of you wonderful people. You know how much I love you guys, okay? And I respect you guys. But you guys are not respecting each other. Yelling and screaming is not going to help. You gotta be more respectful to each other. You know? Everybody. If somebody else is speaking, don't shout over them. Because you're not going to get hurt. I mean, everybody. Yelling and screaming at each other is wrong. And to you guys up there, we need more houses. I have a tenant in my building who has 2 children, 2 girls, and they're living in a 1-bedroom apartment. They need something more, okay? And there are other people who have 5 people living in their room, in 1 room. That's wrong. You know, the people do need help. And I'm done shouting.
Thank you, Leona. I think that that brings us to the front here. And then what's one more question at the back? Yeah. Perfect.
Walid.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Lona, for that important reminder. My name is Walid Kogali Ali, and I'm with the Regent Park Neighborhood Association. I'm also one of the resident co-chairs with Marlene and Ines of the Regent Park's Social Development Plan. And I just want to first of all say, congratulations, everyone. Let's at least acknowledge the good things that are happening in our community. In 2023, we had 0 gun-related deaths. That's never happened. And that's because of investments that have come through the social development plan that's made it possible for us to make sure our community is safer. 3 issues that came up tonight, and I love the Housing Secretariat to also respond to this, is the first issue is no additional rent geared to income units. Our community has been calling for more RGI. We are now 70% market residents, 30% TCHC. We want to strive a balance of 50-50. So we need your support and the mayor's support to make that happen. The second thing is you don't need to listen to any of us. Go read this yourself. Go read bylaw, and I'll say it very slowly. Bylaw 1325-2023. Go read it. Go Google it. The bylaw stipulates, this is what the city council approved, that it will be 40 years of affordability. So whoever brought that point up, you're correct. It is. That's what the bylaw says. And the second thing is, the definition of affordable housing that's been defended now by the city is deplorable. If we implement a definition of 80% of market, think of what's going to happen 10 to 15 years down the road when these units are built. Meaning, a family will have to earn $90,000 to $95,000 to be able to afford a one-bedroom affordable housing unit. That is not affordable. And what I want to communicate to everyone is that it's important for us to demand that the city, and I would love a response from the Housing Secretary, that our definition of affordable housing is based on income, to basically implement OPA 558. And lastly, one thing that you folks might not be aware of this is Tridel and TCHC made their application in May of 2023. The OPA 558 was in full force and effect as of December, the year prior. So it's not a different regime that was just explained to us. That is not true. So I'll love a response from the Housing Secretariat. And the last thing I'm going to say before I pass this on is that it's important for us to remember that this investments and all this work is for the benefit of the community. We need to make sure that we work together with integrity and be honest with each other so that we can find solutions collectively. Thank you.
Sure, thanks very much. And I agree with much of what you said, and I think so does City Council, and that's why the income base was adopted, and why on a go-forward basis, that is what my job is to deliver. And we work very hard every day to find the funding. As I mentioned before, to achieve any level of affordability, it takes everything. It takes finding funding everywhere. It takes every exemption. It takes every waiver. It takes every dollar that we can find. And when you look at the aspirations of the city and what we want to achieve in terms of more RGI and in terms of more affordable housing at the new level, it's a $33 billion plan. It's not just the city who has to be there. We need those other levels of government to come to the table with tools and money. This year was a good start. As I mentioned, the mayor approved 1,300 new RGI units, brand new RGI units in 2024, but we need more, we need way more. We need more supportive housing. We need a wider range of housing in all of our communities. So I agree with a lot of the sentiments that's there, and so do your city councilor, and so does city council in general, to have adopted that and pushed that. We need that money. We need funding to be able to do that. $33 billion. The city has really done its part on a lot of these cases. In fact, this building that we're talking about today, we did everything we could to try to prioritize this, the mayor and city council, to try to find money to greenlight this project, even at that 80%, even at that legacy transitional 80% of AMR definition. We don't think it's shameful. We worked really hard to find that money to get this building to be realized and find those additional units. And now we'll work really hard as we lead up to the construction to try to find funding for RGI to layer on top of that and to bring supports to tenants that are so important. So we agree with you. It's a crisis. It's critical. There isn't enough funding. There isn't enough RGI. There isn't enough supportive units. And that's what we ply at every day when we get up in the morning and come to work. This is all we're thinking. This is all we're trying to find. We're trying to be creative and find solutions, partnerships, all of those things. But in essence, I completely agree. We need way more of that type of housing. And TCHC has been a great landing ground in projects like these, when we are able to bring that funding to layer on top and keep bringing, as I mentioned before, to keep bringing the affordability down on those projects. Thanks.
And also just to add to that too, just to put it on the table, there hasn't been a reduction in RGI here in Regent Park. So there's also a misconception about that as well. So there's no reduction in RGIs here. Just to be clear on that one issue.
Thank you, Councilor. We're going to the last question for the evening before we go into the raffle. Please.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any more time. We're going to have our last question. Rabia, who's a soccer mom, I have a question for you before you start, okay? Which country won the most World Cup championships?
So very serious and very upset about that. Yeah, I'm going to joke about that. So I have 2 minutes, and also I have my daughter wants to speak. Since you don't listen to us as parents, I have the new generation to speak about that. Because she lives in the crisis as we live in the same house, 1 bedroom. I know from people who own their houses, you may not feel that, but it's a crisis. It's very, very hard to live in 1 bedroom and 1 washroom with 6 people. So I'm gonna pass it to her, and then I'm timing my time, and then I'm gonna take it back when she finishes.
I'm Sarah, and I'm a Regent Park resident, activist, and entrepreneur. About 9 months ago, I spoke at City Hall for affordable housing in this community, and this brings me up to my point. There is 6 of us in a 1-bedroom apartment, and it is really hard finding a home that can fit all of us, and it is affordable. As I mentioned in my last speech, Toronto Community Housing told us that we could not move into an affordable apartment if my dad only had 2 years left to live due to his brain tumor surgery. And my mom has been volunteering in this community for 9 years. Also, there are a bunch of people coming in from different cities and provinces for affordable housing, and the city is giving first picks to those people and not the people who have been living in Regent Park and have been volunteering their time in these events. I hope my speech has made you consider it, and thank you.
Thank you. That everyone comes and comment and say, great, we hear you, amazing, lovely ideas, oh wow, I get so inspired. And then after we leave this room, there is no action. Yeah. When's gonna be the action? If I have been talking 10 years, she was a baby in the stroller when I was waiting for her. Now I have her. We need another 10 years, her kids will know with what? She's gonna be maybe doing her proposal, maybe thesis on that. Master's, PhD on Regent Park crisis? When are you gonna listen to us? All of those lovely faces. When? After we're gonna face eviction on the street? You're gonna feel sorry about us? When? When are you gonna give priority for Regent Park residents? It's exactly the same as priority for when you move people from the brown buildings of the old buildings. It's the same. We all Regent Park residents. We all care about our community. Bringing someone in you know nothing about the community, does not even come and show up. It's not fair. I don't think it's fair. Why we call it a community then? Let's go live anywhere. Regent Park a community, and it's a small village, a small country. I call it home. So I hope now you listen to me. It's just an action, not just you listen to me and heard me. Thank you.
Yes, we've heard you, and we've had this conversation on a number of occasions. And we have had this conversation, you and I. I do hear you. That's my moment to speak. Okay.
You told me you don't have solution for me.
I wish I did, and that's the sad truth. But I don't have an answer for you. For residents who live in who are paying rent in market housing, we don't have a solution. We have a commitment to rehouse everyone who is in Regent Park RGI housing. We have had that commitment. For residents who are living in market housing, we do not have an answer. And I'm sorry that we don't have a solution. I don't want to end the night on this note, but the circumstances that you are facing right now, we don't have a solution in hand. There is a process for allocating the new affordable housing units, and you're welcome and to be a part of it. We encourage you to be a part of it, but we can't prioritize individual families. The reason behind that is there's a set of rules that we have to operate within, that the housing is made available through a broad.
As people, we made the rules and we made the system.
I hear you. I wish I had a better answer for you, but that's the answer. I don't know the answer for you. I'm sorry that's the situation. Thank you.
I just want to say something to a comment that was made by Waleed. And it's something that is very important because it's very, very close to my heart. And I'm sure it's very, very close to a lot of my heart in the city. One thing that was said, there's been talk over our WhatsApp group and the city and the news media that there's been 0 deaths in Regent Park. There's a reason why there's been 0 deaths in Regent Park. Our children are incarcerated. Yes. Our children are under house arrest, our youths, and our youths are being lured out to Winnipeg, Alberta, to sell drugs. That's why our youth are here dying.
Also, what should happen is also not being called Regent Park because they want buyers to come into the
Exactly. Their shootings are happening still in Regent Park. I'm sure you guys all hear the gunshots. They're still happening. The police come. One resident just told me that there was gunshots in January. The police told the neighbor whose car was involved in the gunfire to clean up the area. We'll bring undercover cops in to secure the place because they don't want people knowing that there's still gun violence in this neighborhood. So please don't think that our community is safe. And I'm not saying that it should be safe because our community should be safe. But we have to look at the root cause of what's happening. Not because we have new people coming into this community and the community is changing. We have youth that still come back here even though they don't live in Regent Park anymore because this is their home. This is where they feel that they belong, even though they don't live here. And they still come here. And their lives are still in danger when they want to come here and just walk the streets and hang with their friends who live here. I spoke to people from Tridel today. We need job opportunities for our youth. It's got to happen through Tridel. It's got to happen through Daniels. There also has to be a system put in place because a lot of these youth have criminal records and they feel they cannot get employment because of their records. We have to find a way to bypass that. We have to find a way to let these youth feel honest, to come to Tridel, to come to Daniels and say, listen, this is what I did. I have a record, it's obviously in the system knows, but I want to change my life. I want to try and build Regent Park. This should have happened with Daniels 12 years ago. All these youths who are dead, some who are dead, and some who are incarcerated, should have been laying these bricks in Regent Park and building these condominiums a long time ago and getting paid properly. And that never happened. It never happened. And I'm hoping that as Tridel comes in with phase 4 and 5, that has to happen. We have to make sure that our youth are being employed and properly paid for jobs. And these jobs that we know, my son is doing his electrician apprenticeship. I'm trying to get my son to speak to his friends, to help his friends get into the trades, because it's very important. It's one of the only jobs that is going to withstand in 10 to 15 years from now. And if we want to continue to save our youth and have them employed properly, where they can one day in the future buy one of these units, you get them into the trades. Because that's where the money is, and that's where the consistent work is going to be for them. So please, 0 gun deaths, don't buy that. Our youth are in trouble, and they continue to be in trouble. And we have to do something to save them.
Well, thank you very much. I wanted to take this chance out to thank every single one of you guys that took the time not only to be here but to speak and to share your concerns with the rest of your community. I thank also the staff, the city councilor, and everyone that was up here to answer some of the questions that you guys brought up. As before we conclude the evening, we have a bit of a raffle. We have a bit of a raffle that we're gonna, so just hold tight for another second before we get to that.
When do you have the next
Another piece that I wanted to mention to everyone, so you see these tables here on the side? Those are TCHC staff, Daniel staff, Tridel staff, city staff. If there is any one of you guys that didn't get to the microphone to ask a question, please bring it to some of the tables so that we can document your questions and concerns.
To some of the concerns that you brought forth. I listen to your concerns all the time. You and I have had many conversations.
You said put my hand up and I did, and you don't even want to hear me. So you know what? When it comes to disrespect, you guys started, we'll finish it. All right? So don't think I'm disrespecting you. Y'all disrespect me first, you're going to get the same thing back. Thank you.
I speak to you on a regular basis. You and I have had many conversations. Anyway, I just wanted to say again, my office is always open to you. My staff is here. We're always available. And it's not the end of the conversation, it's a continuation of the conversation. The issues that we have here in Regent Park predates a lot of us. It's generational. And we need to work together to make things better. You know, in my job as counselor, I say that I do have privilege in my current role, but I didn't always have privilege, right? I have privilege today. I may not have privilege, you know, in time to come. But what I do in regards to the last comments made around the youth and the problems that we're having, one of the things I actually do as a counselor is meet presidents of, let's say, TMU, York University, U of T, and even George Brown. One of the things I ask for is to make sure they have apprenticeship programs for people in our community. And that's important. As a school board trustee, I used to do that with individual professors. Today in my role, I'm able to do that with the entire institutions. And those are the things that we are working towards to make sure that we make space for apprenticeship for your young people here today. So again, it's not the end, it's only the beginning and the continuation so that, you know, we could actually help our young people. And together we can accomplish that. So that's my commitment to you. I will continue to work hard on your behalf, and I'll continue to have individual conversations with you. Be it on the street corner, be it wherever I meet you, be it at City Hall, be it at my constituent office. I spend a lot of time talking to each and every one of you. And quite frankly, I think the concerns I've heard today, I've heard time and time again from you. So I will continue to work hard to find solutions. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Morris.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.